Today we are doing lesson number 5, and we are going to use intercepts, x and y, to graph a linear relations. Now first of all, we want to clarify what are the intercepts. Specifically, x-intercepts is an x value where the line crosses the x-axis. So to find the x-intercept, you have to let y is equal to 0. So on this graph, you will notice that x-intercept is on the x-axis over here. This is the x-intercept. And it's always x, comma, the y value is 0. On the other hand, for y-intercept, it's the y value where the line crosses the y-axis. So to find the y-intercept, you have to say let x is equal to 0 and solve for y. On this graph, we have a linear line, and y-intercept is on the y-axis over here, this point. This is called a y-intercept, and y-intercept happens when x is 0, comma, the y value. Okay. Now let's try example 1. It says find the intercepts, and then we have to graph this linear relation. So as you can see, this is not a slope y-intercept form. So in order to do the intercept method, first I'm going to divide it into two sections, x-intercept and y-intercept. So to find the x-intercept, we have to let y equals 0, and to find y-intercept, we have to say let x is equal to 0. Now we are going to plug in y as 0 into the equation. So 4x minus 3, so instead of writing y, I'm plugging in 0 equals 12. And now all we're doing is we're solving for x. 12, so 4x equals 12. Whatever it's in front of x, we are dividing by that number. In this case, it's 4. So divide everything by 4. So x is equal to 3. So it looks like my x-intercept is 3. So if I have to put it in a coordinate form, it's going to be 3, comma, y is 0. What about y-intercept? We're going to let, so instead of writing x, we are putting x as 0. And we are solving for y. So this becomes 0. 4 times 0 is 0. Now whatever it's in front of y, we're dividing by that number. So in front of y, negative 3. So we're completely canceling it out so that y is by itself, negative 4. So what does this mean? It means that when x is 0, my y-intercept is negative 4. So if I may, let's plot the points. So when its x-intercept is 3, 0, so this is my x-intercept on the x-axis. And for my y-intercept is at negative 4 on the y-axis. Therefore, you can connect the points. Please use a ruler like this. This equation of a line, it's going to be 4x minus 3y equals 12. So this is another method that you can draw the graph using the intercepts. What about letter B? So as you can see for letter B, it gives us in a slope y-intercept form. So just by looking at it, I know my y-intercept is 6 and my slope is negative 3. But we still want to use a intercept method. So again, let's make a table. So x-intercept and y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, you always say let y equal 0. And for y-intercept, you let x equal 0. All we need to do is plug it in. So y is equal to, so y, instead of writing y, we are plugging y as 0. So I'm going to move negative 3x to the left side. So it will now become 3x, positive 3x. So divide both sides by 3, x is 2. So it looks like it's 2, 0. For y-intercept, y is equal to, we're plugging in 0 into x. This becomes 0, so y-intercept is 6. So it's quite useful if it's in slope y-intercept form, because just right away you know that the y-intercept is going to be 6. So I can use a different color. So let's label my x-intercept is 2 on the x-axis, and my y-intercept is going to be 6 on the y-axis. And then using a ruler, connect the two lines. Therefore, y is equal to negative 3x plus 6. Okay. Now, what about example 2? So for example 2, it's same thing. This time we're given a fraction. So it's okay if we are given a fraction. All we're doing is plugging in 0 for each variable. So let's try this. X-intercept, y-intercept. So when we're looking for x-intercept, we say let y equal 0. For y-intercept, let x equal 0. Let's plug it in. So for 2 over 3x minus 4 over 5, so instead of writing y, 0 equals 2. Obviously, this will become 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So 2 over 3x equals 2. Now what we can do to get rid of 3, I could move 3 to the other side, opposite. Opposite of dividing it by 3 is you're multiplying. So 2x is equal to 2 times 3. So 2x equals 6, x is equal to 3. So it looks like its x-intercept is 3, 0. On the other hand, for y-intercept, I'm going to plug in x as 0. So this becomes 0. So I have negative 4y equals 2. Again, I'm going to bring 5 to the other side. So opposite of dividing it by 5, when we bring it to the other side, is multiplying. So negative 4y is equal to 2 times 5. So y is equal to, so divide both sides by negative 4, we're going to get negative 5 over 2. Or you could write it in negative 2.5. So therefore, my y-intercept is going to be 0, negative 2.5. So in this case, I wrote it in decimal so that it's a little bit easier for me to graph it. So for letter A, let's label my x-intercept on the x-axis at 3, and on my y-axis is at negative 2.5. So it's right in the middle here. And using your ruler, connect the points, and don't forget the arrows on both ends. So we could label 2 over 3x minus 4 over 5y equals 2. Okay. And then you'll do same thing for letter B. So don't be afraid that if it's a fraction, all you need to do is just do an algebra by plugging in each variable a 0. Now let's take a look at lesson number 6. Now we're using the slope and y-intercept to graph a linear relation. So we've done this before, okay? So keep in mind, let's take a look at, so this is just a warm-up, but let's go over the rate of change first. The rate of change of the linear relation is called a slope of a line. They mean the same thing. The y value of the point where the line crosses on the y-axis is called a y-intercept. So for example, if you take a look at this equation, the slope over here, it's always beside x. Slope is 3 over 5, and the y-intercept is a number. It's either you add or subtract, so in this case it's positive 2. For the next example, the slope is negative 3, but in this example we don't have plus or minus a number, so the y-intercept must be 0. So in summary, the graph of a relation is always shown in this format if it's a slope y-intercept form. So y is equal to mx plus b, the slope represented by m, and y-intercept is represented by b. What's another word for slope? Pretty much, slope, another word, is a rate of change. It measures the steepness of a line. For example, the slope we looked at, the formula is rise over run. Now the rise over run is always used by making a right angle triangle by picking the 2 points on the line. So let's say we are given a line over here. So you have to pick a 2 point on the line, let's say point 1 and point 2. So run, so we're going this way because we have to reach another point. So we are going to the right. So this is run, positive. And then after we run all the way here, we're going up. This is rise. In this case, the rise is positive as well. Another formula that for slope is by picking the 2 points on the line. Okay, but for now, let's just stick with slope as rise over run by picking 2 points and making a right angle triangle. So the greater the magnitude of the slope m, ignoring the sign, whether it's positive or negative, the steeper the line is going to be. For example, let's say we're given a grid over here, and let's say I'm given this slope of this line versus this line. So imagine that you are on a roller coaster ride. So you're standing over here. Which ride is going to be more exhilarating and faster? So obviously, line 1 is going to be way faster than line 2. Line 2 is going to be a little bit slow. So line 1 is more steep. Therefore, the slope is going to be higher. So for example, line 1 could have a slope of 5, and then line 2 can have a slope of, let's say, 1. So the higher the slope, the steeper the line is going to be, the faster the roller coaster ride. So a line with a positive slope rises up to the right. So every time we read the graph, we're reading the graph from left to right. So as I read left to right, the graph is rising up. A line with a negative slope, it falls down to the right. So for example, as I read left to right, the graph is going down. This is a negative slope. Now the equation of a line in slope y-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b. So you must memorize this equation. Now example 1. So complete the following table. So let's try this. So it looks like we're given a slope y-intercept form, and we need to find the slope and y-intercept. For example 1a, the slope is 2, and my y-intercept is negative 5. What about letter B? Is there a number in front of x? There is actually. There is invisible 1 here. So if you don't see any number in front of x, that means the slope is 1 and y-intercept is 10. On the other hand, if we look at letter C, slope is -5, but I don't see a plus or minus a number, so y-intercept must be 0. On the other hand, if we look at letter D and E, y is equal to 3. Now, do I see a variable x here? No, I just see a number. So that means the slope, in this case, there's no slope. So therefore, the slope is going to be 0, and the y-intercept is going to be 3. Okay, very good. Now, example 2, it says write the equation in a slope y-intercept form. We're given these two variables. So in this case, y is equal to mx, which is 1 over 2 mx plus b. But b is negative here, so it's -1. For letter B, again, the slope is 7, so y is equal to mx, so 7x plus b. But b is 0, so I don't need to write plus 0. Okay. Let's see. Example 3. So use the slope y-intercept form to graph the following lines. So let's try example 3a. In this case, my slope is 3 and my y-intercept is -5. For slope, I'm going to change it into a fraction because remember the slope formula is rise over run. So 3 is technically 3 over run. So because both of them are positive, that means rise is going to be 3. So we're going up 3. Run, which is, it's a positive number, so we're going right 1. Another way to look at it is do the opposite of both steps. So opposite of up 3 is going to be down 3. Opposite of right 1 is left 1. The reason why is because if I were to put -3 and -1, negative becomes positive. But still, it means exactly the same thing. Both is 3. So you could do one or the other. So when you're graphing it, you always start with the y-intercept first. So this is your first step. Label your y-intercept on the y-axis, which is -5 here. And then from my y-intercept, we're going to go up 3 and write 1. So up 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then write 1. So this point, if I have to write down the coordinate, it's going to be -2, 1. Again, let's go up 3 more points. So one more point. So 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going up right 1 over here. So this point, if I may label, it's going to be 2, 1. Oh, sorry. My apologies. You always write the x value first. Sorry about that. It's going to be 1, -2. Okay. And there you have it. Okay. So you are given, so try to label the 3 points on the graph. This is y is equal to 3x minus 5. If I decided to use a another method, which is down 3 and left 1, so you could do that. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going left 1 step over here. So, so it's not really on the line, but it should be on the line. So this point will be -1, comma, negative 8. So what about example 4? So let's say for number 4, A, we are given a 5x plus 2y equals 0. So it gives us a non-slope y-intercept form. So you need to rearrange so that y is equal to mx plus b. So I'm going to move 5x to the right. So 2y equals negative 5x. And I'm going to divide both sides by 2, so it's negative 5 over 2x. So just by looking at this slope y-intercept form, it looks like my slope is negative 5 over 2, and my y-intercept is 0. So let's translate this. What does this slope mean? Using rise over run. So I can put negative at the top or the bottom. Let's say I decide to put negative at the top, negative 5 over 2. This means that I'm going down, rise means going down 5, and it's positive 2, so we're going right 2. But if I decided to put negative at the bottom, so it's going to be 5 over negative 2, that means if it's positive 5, I'm going up 5, and if it's negative 2, I'm going left 2. So again, let's start with my starting point. Y-intercept is 0. This is my starting point. And then we can go down 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then right 2. So 1, 2. So this point is going to be 2 comma negative 5. Or we could go up 5 and left 2. So let's go up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going left 2. 1, 2. This point must be negative 2 comma 5. And there you have it. So 3 points on the graph. Oh wow, it works out as a straight line. And don't forget the arrows. So this equation is 5x plus 2y equals 0. So you could try the next one, letter B. I want to isolate for y, so I'm going to bring negative 4y to the right side. So on the left side, I have x minus 28, and on the right, I have 4y, positive 4y. Now what's in front of y? It's 4. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Everything by 4. So I can cancel and cancel. So therefore, y is equal to, so it looks like there's invisible 1 here. So it's 1 over 4x. Negative 28 divided by positive 4 is negative 7. Okay, so I just decided to put y on the left side, but I did not change anything. So look at the equation. It looks like my slope is 1 over 4, and my y-intercept is negative 7. What does this mean? So positive both sides, so that means I'm going to go up 1, rise over run, right 4. If I decided to do both negative, opposite of both, you could do, another way to say it is you could go down 1 and left 4, one or the other. My starting point is negative 7, so on the y-axis, this is my negative 7 here. And then from here, I could go up 1 and right 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this point is going to be 4 comma negative 6. Or I could go down 1 and left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this point must be negative 4 comma negative 8. And then draw a straight line using your ruler. And this is going to be x minus 4y minus 28 equals 0.